Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, your best place for predictions and opinions. It's round 9. I'm on my own this evening. No Ryan or Michael to join me for the preview, but we'll get right into it after a little wetting the whistle. So we kick off on Friday evening, the Crusaders versus the Highlanders, and this is a big one. It's the Battle of the South Island, but also this is the game that I will be at the Zone Sports Bar leading a watch party. So you'll find myself and John will get up on stage prior to the game and give you a preview. We'll get full of stats and stuff. We'll come back at half time and then have a quick chat, and then at full time we'll do post-match review as well. So if you're in Hamilton, head down to the Zone Sports Bar Friday and watch this game kick off. Obviously 7:35, but we'll be going from about 7:15, so join us down there. The Crusaders, a pretty strong side. Havili, Enor, Goodhue, Crotty, Rees, Moanga, Hall, Reid, Todd, Douglas, Whitelock, Barrett, Alatoa, Makilehu and Moody. So the only two players really missing are Cody Taylor and Owen Franks, who both are being withdrawn due to injury. As I say, we've got Alatoa and Makilehu there. Fennell, Allen, Jaeger, Strange, Tafua, Drummond, Hunt and Jordan on the bench. So very strong side there from the Crusaders. Not looking for any slip-ups. So we've got several All Blacks returning to the side after being rested against the Brumbies last weekend. Crusaders, with only that one hiccup against the Waratahs, have been very strong. Whereas if we look at the Highlanders, Ben Smith, Fadders, Thompson, Walden, Lee, Iwani, Hamilton, Dixon, Lenties, Frizzell, Franklin, Parry Parkinson, Lomax, Coltman and Leonard Brown in there. Daniel, obviously, not Aaron. And part of that is a lot of names there that you're kind of thinking, okay, so where? So Nabruah, he's out for the season anyway, but Liam Squire, Aaron Smith, Buckman, Luke Whitelock, Marty Banks, all out injured and not available for this game. So you've got to say that's the 8, 9, 10, even 12 combination there with, actually Buckman's been playing 13, but Luke Whitelock, Aaron Smith, Marty Banks, your whole decision-making triumvirate there out of the side, which is going to be a tough ask for the Highlanders. We've got, hey Daniel, nice to see you joining me in the live chat there. You've got Dixon, Johnson, Tokalahe, Dixon again, different spelling, Hemapo, Fakatava, Gatland and Tompkinson on the bench. So Hemapo obviously will have to come on and have a quick look. There's been a question in the chat there. Where's my picks for round 9? Sorry, I've written it up, but I've not done the video yet. A bit behind this week. Sorry on doing that for the predictions. I will give you my predictions during this show, and I will add them in the notes for this one. I'll try and get the prediction video done tomorrow. He says so. You've got to say for this one that missing those key players is a big loss. One of the players not unavailable due to injury, but not mentioned, or one of the players not picked but not mentioned that unavailable for injury is Naholo. I mean, he's injured as well, as far as I'm aware. So you're missing him as well. So lots of players missing for the Highlanders there. I've gone on this one. Quick, bring up the. Obviously, I've gone with the Crusaders. I think pretty much everyone will have gone with the Crusaders. I've gone Crusaders by 10 in this one. One of the things, I guess, to look at from this game is the Crusaders are the kings of scoring off first phase. They've got 19 tries off first phase, which is more than anybody else. And they've only scored 14 other tries. So more than half of their tries come off first phase. So look for those counter-attacks. Look for those attacks off set piece. Because that's where the Crusaders are most likely to score. Also, one of the other things about the Crusaders is they leak more points. They leak 9 tries in the last quarter of the game, whereas 10 tries throughout the rest of the game so far this season, 19 in total. but generally the game's done and dusted by that last quarter, so they take their foot off the pedal, all the changes. So if the Highlanders are still in it by that point, then they're in with a shout. So I say the Crusaders tend to not finish well, but they've not had to worry about that. Highlanders on the flip side tend to lose. High Pierce could see it as well. Highlanders on the flip side tend to concede a lot of tries just before half time. 11 tries conceded in that section of the game, whereas they've only conceded 12 tries in the rest of the game. So staying awake for that second, for that sort of 20 minutes before half time is going to be important for them. We know the Crusaders are famous for scoring either side of the half, and that's going to be where we're probably going to see see them pull away. Jackson's gone Crusaders by 19, but it's very difficult, as he says, see anyone beating them this season. So those are some of the key points. Highlanders good off first phase as well, but they also do quite a lot of second and third phase. So 17 of their tries in those first three phases. After that, they've only scored 3 tries after 3 phases. So again, they have to score within those first few. The Crusaders can still score after 6 or 7 phases. The Highlanders tend to not do that. So just look out for that as well. Into the second game, we have the Rebels hosting the Stormers. Oh, sorry. Other big point for that last game is it's Ben Smith's 150th game for the Highlanders. He's Highlander number 160. And he made his debut back in 2009. So congratulations to Ben Smith. Hat tip there for his 150th game. Rebels then host the Stormers. A few changes in the pack for the Rebels, with the Takilaki and Abel coming in. Also Ross Haylett-Petty has been included as well. So you got the same. I think it's pretty much the same back line. So Hodge, Tupu, English, Meeks, Corabetti, Cooper, Genia, Nazarani, Cottrell, Jones, Coleman, Haylett-Petty, Talakai, Abel, and Faulkner for the Rebels there. Jack Maddox and Rangi have both not been considered due to injuries that they sustained during the Sunwolves game there for that one. Just one point here, I guess, is that Tom English has become the most capped player for the Rebels, overtaking Laurie Weeks' record of 85 games for Melbourne. So congratulations, hat tip to Tom English there as well. He obviously doesn't want to get too carried away with that, but congratulations to him there. For the Stormers, we see that Kitsoff has taken over as captain from Khaleesi, who is being rested for this game, which means that Ernst van Rijn will make his Stormers debut replacing Khaleesi. We've also got Sinatla coming off the bench for his first appearance of the season as well, potentially. So Williamson, who obviously got caught up in the Folau affair, having liked his Instagram post. So let's see what kind of reception he gets from the Melbourne Rebels crowd for that one. Peterson, Nell, Delendi, Lades, Duplessis, Yanchis comes back in to start, switching with Phillips. Coetzee, Van Dijk, Van Rijn, Weiss, Motril, Lowe, Mbembe, and Kitsoff are your starting crowd there. Personally, I think it's going to be a long shot for the Stormers to win. Pearce reckons that the Stormers need to win on tour, and they do, but it's going to be very difficult to see them actually beating Rebels at home. Personally, I can't see it. I've gone Rebels by 10 on this one. The one thing that gives you a bit of hope is that the Stormers have been switching up their style of play. But one of the things you do find is that the Stormers run out of ideas pretty quickly. All of their 11 tries have been scored within the first 3 phases of play. So from a defensive point of view, if you can hold them out for those first 3 phases, they haven't scored a try yet after 4 phases. So they run out of ideas, do the Stormers, and that's got to be one of the Rebels' work-ons for this game. Now the Rebels' defence, isn't great necessarily against first phase ball, and they've given up 10 tries in that one. 10 of their 12 tries are off first phase. So that's where you're going to expect the Stormers to try and target the Rebels. The Rebels also pretty good off those early phases. 14 tries off first phase ball, another 8 within 2 and 3 phases. So 22 of their tries, but they have scored tries after 7 phases. So they can go through the phases and still maintain it. The Stormers are the only side not to have scored after 3 phases in the league. So interesting one there from the Stormers. And again, the Rebels with 10 tries in that second quarter of the game just before half time. Well, that's a key stage for them going into half time strongly. So again, look for that from the Rebels. The Stormers tend to have a stronger first half. They've only conceded 4 tries in the first half and 7 tries in the second half. So again, that battle just before half time is going to be key, because the Rebels will be used to going with points, but the Stormers are good at holding teams out in that first half of the game. So, but I say I've got Rebels in this one. I can't really see the Stormers pulling it out. Saturday, we have the Chiefs versus the Blues up here in Waikato. Now, we've got 2 of the form sides in the competition here. Chiefs now on the run of a draw and 2 wins, those wins in South Africa and Argentina, whereas the Blues are off the back of 4 wins on the trot. But those 4 wins on the trot have all been at home, so we've got to see whether the Blues can travel. That's going to be the really interesting one here. Can the Blues travel? Looking at the Chiefs one, the Chiefs side, the main changes are in that front row. In that front row, we're looking at Tuava, Harris, Lualala, then you've got Retallick, Tyler Ideron, Jacobson, Boshier, Siu, Weber, McKenzie, Alamano, Anton Leonard-Brown, and Sean Wainui, and then Damien McKenzie obviously at 15. And that's been part of that big change, hasn't it? If we look at their bench, the bench has got very little experience. I mean, Triple T with 24 caps, he is the most experienced player on the bench, which is and the reason for that is, listen to this injury list: Ross, Molly, Hereta, Tuamatine, Hames, Allardyce, Brown, Karpik, O'Neill, Kane, McNichol, Falcon. And that is a hellishly long injury list for the Chiefs, and that's been part of what's been behind them. Yes, battle the Bombays, as Pierce says. So they're a form team, but you'd say with that bench, you'd want them to be in the lead, not really chasing a game. And we can probably see that that's part of their problem. Is the Chiefs have leaked 10 points in the final quarter of the game. Only the Sunwolves 10 tries in the final quarter of the game. Only the Sunwolves have conceded more tries in that time, which is with 12. So you've got to say that's got to be a key time for the Blues. The Blues, very much second half's team. 7 tries in the first half. They've scored 13 tries in the second half, so nearly twice as many tries in that second half there. So that does match up well with the Chiefs. The Chiefs, again, also slow starters. Only 3 tries in that first quarter of the game. But once they get going, then they're fine throughout the rest of the game. So slow starters, but don't expect too much off that first, too many early tries from these 2. The other one about this one is that these 2 teams are pretty low on the old discipline side of things. So the Blues, 2 cards so far this season, the Chiefs just 1. So only 3 cards between these 2 teams all season. Compare that to the Rebels, who have given up 6 cards, and that's just 1 team. So don't expect the referee to have much of a say in this game. Both these teams pretty clean. And the Chiefs have a reputation for being a poor discipline side, and yet they have given up the second least number of penalties, just 48. The Highlanders on 46, the fewest. I say expect a pretty clean game. Both these sides are happy to kick penalties, though. 13 kicked by the Chiefs, 12 by the Blues this season. So they're both happy to take 3s, and I think they're both going to probably want to just try and keep that scoreboard ticking over. Personally, I'm not run through the Blues team yet, have I? Quickly run through the Blues team. Again, a bunch of players missing through injuries. So Tupu, Pierce, Gibson, Sonny Bill Williams, Purafetta, Trainer, Tiliala, but he's suspended. Now, the Blues have not beaten the Chiefs in the last 14 games. So even though Pierce has gone Blues by 5. I think he's been a bit optimistic with that one, maybe. North Harbour captain James Park's going to be captain for his in his 99th game for the Blues, and 97th in Super Rugby. And I'm just trying to think which. So obviously there's one against the Lions, but I'm trying to think what the other game was that gets him up to 99. But there we go. And impressively, this is the 26th straight game that Akira Ioane has played for the Blues. So that's pretty impressive. Running through the team, Nanai, Clark, Fiani, Nonu, Rico, Black, Ruru, and then the Akiri, Papilihi, Robinson, Cowley Tuatolti, Patrick Tuapolotu, Tuangafasi, Parsons, and Big Carl in that front row. So yeah, they've got the All Blacks starting for the first time this season. We've had Offa and Carl coming off the bench a lot to finish games, but we're not going to see that. Good to see Matt Duffy again on the bench as well. I've not seen him for a while for this one. So a bit of disagreement on here. Jackson's gone Chiefs by 8. I've gone Chiefs by 3. We just haven't seen that. What's the word I'm looking for? We haven't seen the Blues perform away from home yet, and that's what we need to see. So yeah, 14 games that the Blues haven't beaten the Chiefs. It's been quite a long run. After that, we follow that game up with the Brumbies. Oh, but by the way, I'll be doing live post-match reaction from that game, so on YouTube. Do log in for that straight after the final whistle. We then have the Brumbies versus the Lions. I've not seen the Brumbies line up yet, and the Lions have probably the worst website of any Super Rugby side. So I have to go into Twitter for their one. But the big news here: Lionel Mapoe is celebrating his 100th cap for the Lions this weekend. So again, another hat tip. There seems to be plenty of players going through this. It's his 116th Super Rugby cap he's played for the Free State and for the Bulls as well in total. Marks captaining the side. So we've got Beth, Marks, Yonker across the front row, Herbst, Uri in the engine room, Brink, Diamani, Lewis in the Lucy's, Groom, Yangchis, Node, Mapoe, Dante, Coertzy, and Combrink out on the wing. So yes, a few names kind of missing there in that pack in particular. So we'll see how they go. Personally, I have gone for the Brumbies in this one. I'm backing the Brumbies by 5. This one, a tougher games to call. The Lions have toured well in the past, but they have also conceded a lot of points recently, which is why we can see that the Lions have now conceded 24 tries this season, which makes them the kind of anomaly in the South Africa conference, because a lot of them have been very much built on defence. I mean, things like the Bulls with 19, the Sharks with 10, and the Storms with 19 tries conceded. The Lions with 24 are out there. The time to get them is pretty early on, so 13 tries in that first half. They then tend to come out at half-time very well. They've scored 10 tries just after half-time and only led in 2. But then again, they slip away at the end. Brumbies, they're going to want to get off to a good start. 15 tries in the first half, 10 in the second. Their problem is going to be that third quarter, just after half-time, because they tend to concede tries then too. They've conceded 20 tries in the second half, only 9 in the first half. So the Brumbies, really, that fitness and the bench really need to work well here. Against this Lions side that have come back. I mean, they did against the Rebels the other week after giving up a big lead in the first half. I say I've gone with Brumbies there. The Sharks then host the Jaguares, and again, no news on these lineups. I'm backing the Sharks by 3. The Jaguares, sure, they can win on the road. I mean, they beat the Bulls last weekend, but the Sharks are on a bit of a run now, and it looked like they were falling apart, because there was news that Robert du Preez signed for Sale Sharks, and it was questioned then by the hierarchy. There was talk of Bosch leaving as well, and things looked like off the field they weren't looking so good. But they've won 2 out of the last 3 games, and heading back in the right direction. as I said, with 10 tries conceded, it's built off defence. The Sharks, are the meanest team as far as tries conceded in the competition. Jaguares, on the flip side, have led in 19 and scored 20. The Jaguares, they score in that last quarter. That's when you've really got to hold them out. 10 of their tries in that last quarter, 10 in the first 3 quarters of the game. They're going to come back at you. But they tend to concede tries around half-time. 6 before, 7 after. So that's 13 of their 19 tries conceded around half-time. They start and end the game well. So just you got to suck it up early on and then get your points around half-time against them. The Sharks, again, they can score throughout all of them, all the phases. The Jaguares, similar as well. I mean, all teams generally like to score off first phase ball. In fact, the Sharks are probably the only team that score more off second and third phase than first phase. Actually, the Bulls as well, 4 and 5. The Sharks 7 and 9. So, expect that one to be the sort of the story of the game. With 78 penalties, the Jaguares are one of the more poor disciplined sides, but only 3 cards this season is a bit of a surprise there. Yeah, they have a bit of reputation picking up cards, but not so much this season. The Sharks, on the other hand, 5 cards, including a red, but only 57 penalties, so a bit cleaner. Jackson Ryan third, the Brumbies by 13. That's an impressive one for that's going a bit big there, I think. So this one, I say, I'm going for the Sharks by 3, and we'll see how that one pans out. To finish off the round, we have the Bulls versus the Reds. Now these 2 teams have actually announced their sides, which is interesting. So for the Bulls, they rested a whole bunch of Springboks last weekend and have brought them back in again. So Gallant, Creel, Pollard, Van Zyl, Van Straden, Simon are all back in the starting lineup. So obviously they have to rest their players at some point, but made a mistake doing it against the Jaguares. So Gallant, Coetzee, Creel, Odendaal, Seitling, Pollard at the back line, Van Zyl at 9, Schumann, Limburg, Van Staden, and the Lucies, Stuyman, Kirsten, and then Nyaken, Visage, and Goboku. All there. That Sharks game is going to be low scoring. They do have, Jackson's there in the chat. They do have, they have got the best defence in there. So a couple of players back for the first time this season. Van Staden and Simon, first time due to injury in this one. So you've got to say that there's lots of changes in this Bulls side from last week. So don't expect anything different to that, and don't expect the same sort of results. Reds, 4 changes to the side. I mean, he's been constantly changing that front row. So you got Smith, Maffey, Tupu in the front row, with the other Smith actually is on the bench. Rodder Hockings, Salaka-Lotu, Wright, and Higginbotham. McDermott and Hegarty are your pivots. Toulouse, Karevi at 12 this time. Falau Suatati comes back into the side after injury. Hardy and Stewart at the back there. Jock Campbell on the bench as the outside back's replacement. If he gets on the bench, it will be his debut for this one. So not so many changes, but hey, obviously they've had to travel as well. So they are resting some people according to Naivalu. Naivalu is being rested for the Wallabies workload management policy, so he's out, which is why Tua comes onto the wing there. I just can't see the Reds going over to South Africa and winning. So I'm backing the Bulls by 3 because obviously the Bulls have been a bit of a up and down side. The Bulls will try and get ahead. I mean, they scored 9 tries in the first half, only 4 in that second half. The Reds score much more evenly across the game, but defensively, that's phases. Sorry, not dear me. Sorry, the Bulls tend to score within 3 phases or they don't score at all. The Reds much more even across that. The problem for the Reds is that's when they give up their tries. They've given up 19 tries in those first 3 phases, only 7 tries after that. So that's when so unfortunately their defence matches the Bulls' attack. Bulls slightly more second half side rather than the first half, 5 and 8, 5 tries in the first half, 8 in the second half. Whereas the Reds much more a second half team. Only 7 tries in the first half, 16 tries in that second half. More than double. More than 2/3 of their tries are scored in the second half of the game. So Reds will be basically trying to keep it as close as possible and then looking at powering on. But there's a good chance they're going to fall behind and then have to try and catch up. Trying to do that at altitude is difficult. So Jackson Ryan reckons that the Bulls will run away in the second half. The stats or the trend of scoring doesn't suggest that's how it's going to happen. But we'll see how the game pans out. Again, I think the Bulls for this one for me, Bulls by 3, even though with all of those changes. So that's all the games from this weekend, folks. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone who's been in the live chat. It has been a pleasure yet again. Don't forget that those of you on the live chat, the links are down below to Patreon and that kind of stuff. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and all those sort of things. But those of you who are watching the recording, up there is how you can subscribe to the channel. Down there is a link to Patreon. That's where you become a supporter of Driving Maul. I provide exclusive content there. So I've forgotten what the article was about this week. But anyway, you get exclusive content there and also support me providing all this free content for you. And over there, the artificial intelligence at YouTube. So there's 2 videos you're going to enjoy. So go give them a watch too. Oops, get out the way so I can close.